Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty common, this idea of good foods and bad foods.
Yeah, it's something like, what, almost 80% of us in the U.S. think that way?
Exactly. But, today we're aiming to challenge that, sort of unpack it a bit. Our mission, really, is to explore let's say, a more nuanced view of healthy eating. We're using this really interesting piece of writing as our guide.
Right. And it's not about judging food, is it? This source, well, it argues pretty convincingly that labeling single foods, it doesn't really work.
Unless it's actually dangerous.
Well, yeah. Unless we're talking spoiled food or, poison. Obvious stuff.
Okay, so let's get into this. The main idea from our source is that health isn't about one food item here or there.
No, it's about the whole pattern. Your overall diet quality. That's the crucial thing.
Why is looking at that bigger picture? Why is that so important?
Well, it's fascinating because the source points out you could actually build a diet using only foods we think of as good and still end up, well, unhealthy. The example they give is someone eating just raw broccoli, apples, orange juice, boiled tofu, and carrots. Only those things.
Right. And all of those sound pretty healthy, don't they? Individually, I mean.
Absolutely.
But the source shows even that kind of virtuous diet, it can lack the full range of nutrients we actually need.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of how all good foods can still equal a bad diet.
It really makes you think, could some of us be doing that? Maybe without even realizing.
It's possible. Lack of variety, even with healthy stuff, can mean you miss out on essential micronutrients. It might even affect your gut health, the microbiome diversity.
So it really highlights why we need to focus on the complete picture, the whole nutritional package.
Precisely.
Now let's flip that. The source also gives this other example, kind of eye-opening too. A teenager eats fried chicken sometimes, occasionally. But otherwise, their diet is actually pretty balanced and healthy.
Yeah. And what's key there is that those occasional, maybe less nutrient-dense choices, they don't automatically wreck an otherwise good diet.
So it's not the one-off indulgence.
Not really. It's the consistency, your regular habits. That's what holds the most weight, not the exception to the rule.
Which then leads us to the opposite case in the source, someone who eats fried foods a lot.
Right. Frequently.
And barely any fruits or vegetables.
Yeah.
Lots of sugary snacks, that kind of pattern.
Yes, the frequent indulgence bad diet scenario.
And that really drives home the source's main argument, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The source makes it really clear. It's the long-term patterns, the sum of your choices over time. That's what truly impacts health, much more than any single food labeled good or bad.
So if we kind of zoom out,
yeah,
the big takeaway is we need to shift our thinking, right?
Definitely.
Stop fixating on, is this single food good? Is this one bad?
And focus instead on the overall balance, the variety, the whole picture of what you eat.
It's like thinking about a symphony, not just one note.
That's a great way to put it. It really makes you ask yourself, doesn't it? How does this change your view of food? Are you maybe focusing too much on specific items instead of looking at the bigger landscape of your eating habits day to day?
That's definitely something to chew on. So for you listening, think about your own relationship with good and bad foods.
Yeah.
Understanding that it's really about the overall balance.
Yeah.
How might that change how you approach eating well? Something to really consider.
Definitely.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.